Bud Light probably should have said no to this ad campaign. This Bud Light bottle posted to Reddit says, the perfect beer for removing no from your vocabulary for the night, with the hashtag up for whatever. This has ignited a flurry of criticism on social media, saying that the slogan promotes rape culture. Joining me with more, EJ Schultz, a reporter for Advertising Age. Thanks for being here, sir.
Thank you.
So how does something like this happen? How does an ad campaign make it through the entire approval process that it takes for these advertisements to go out?
Well, this label program is part of the larger Up for Whatever campaign that's been running for quite a while. And what they have been doing is been printing something more than 100 different labels to put on bottles of Bud Light that were meant to be sort of fun messages, sort of connecting Bud Light to sort of spontaneous fun. And obviously, this particular message has a very poor double meaning that people on the internet picked up on, and this story really kind of picked up steam online today. And Bud Light fairly quickly apologized for it, but obviously it's not a good look for the brand, and it's obviously something, especially that an alcohol brand would not want to be associated with. So it is a little surprising that they were not able to vet this and keep it from actually making the label. But I think it sort of speaks to the larger kind of complexity that marketing departments face these days. They have to create so much content. You know, the old days of one television campaign that runs for months and it gets looked at for weeks before it goes on air are long over. And so these companies are having to create content almost on a weekly, daily basis. And this one obviously slipped through the cracks.
Well, certainly an alcohol company would not want to be thought of in the same light as in a rape culture context or promoting date rape, which is what a lot of people on social media are saying. But I'm of a certain age where I remember Schaefer, the old Schaefer beer, had that tagline. I don't know if you remember. It was the beer to have when you're having more than one. All right. Again, it seems to a lot of people looking back now promoting alcoholism, right? I mean, you shouldn't be having a beer that gets you to the point where you need to keep having more than one. So,
right.
I don't know. I mean, alcohol companies are always sort of doing things like this, aren't they?
Well, they are, yeah. I mean, they have to walk a fine line, obviously. They want to be seen as kind of cutting edge, and they want to be talking the same language as, the millennial generation. They want to, they don't want to be seen as a conservative kind of corporation. They want to be seen as something that's conversational. Obviously, though, in this case, it went the wrong way, and they made a mistake, and they're admitting that they made a mistake. And obviously, it wasn't intended that way from their point of view. So it's something that I don't think is going to have a lasting effect. It's a small part of the larger campaign, but certainly it was not a good day today for them.
And so do you think they're going to keep that Up for Whatever campaign going?
I think so. They're committed to it for at least, this year and probably beyond. This particular line on the label was not, the leading edge of the campaign. It was one very small part, one small message. Up for Whatever, in the minds of Bud Light, has a much larger, different meaning.
I'm also curious just your take on advertising for alcohol, like beer, for example. I was saying to our producers earlier that this reminded me of a South Park clip where they did an alcohol commercial and they showed, all these images of wonderful things, right? You driving a Ferrari, you with beautiful girls, you in a tuxedo, and then at the very end, all showing the images of this beer. And at the end, it says drink responsibly. And so that line that they have to tread when they're advertising their alcohol and drinking responsibly is a very fine one.
Yeah, it is. And, one of the more interesting things, though, to me in the overall beer category right now is we do still have Bud Light and some of these brands that are, obviously trying to connect the brands to having fun and, social activities. We are seeing, though, a movement, and I think this is influenced a lot by the craft beer world, of bigger brands starting to talk more about their quality and the actual liquid. So they are returning a bit to that approach. And I think you're going to see that continue. I think people these days are increasingly interested in the actual beer, what's in the beer, versus this so-called badge value, which is the phrase that beer brands have long used to describe the phenomenon that people kind of drink beer as a way to kind of say who they are.
Badge value, I like that. Well, let's put up the response from Anheuser-Busch. They did release a statement saying that they're not going to do this anymore. They say it's clear that this message missed the mark and we regret it. We would never condone disrespectful or irresponsible behavior. E.J. Schultz, thank you so much for being with us. Really appreciate your insight on this. Thanks.
Thanks for having me.
All right.